Secret friends, unite!
Welcome to the Secret Friends Unite podcast, episode 374. This is your guide to the geek side, and I'm one of your hosts, Todd Oxtra. Living the dream, it's Mayday, folks. Joined by Charlie Carden, back from Tejas.
Tejas, as you know, I started to listen to the episode you recorded last week, and I only got a few minutes into it. I love the guest host, would love to. What was his name again?
Matt Sawinski.
I dug his style, but again, I got to listen to just a couple of minutes because I was running errands or something. And then, but I liked him and loved. But yeah, he said you guys were talking, and then you were talking about Texas. It was the there was a Southwest Coast Avengers that showed up in an early issue of West Coast Avengers, drawn by your friend, your hero, second only to Mark Bagley. That would be Mr. Al Milgrom. But it was like Texas Twister and Six Shooter Gal or whatever, and yeah. But no, I didn't see any of those. No, it was a corporate training. I'm reminded working for a large corporation that there's always a lot of alcohol involved, so my liver got to work out too. But I'm feeling much better now. But yeah, I got a week home, and then I'm off to our national sales conference in Scottsdale, Arizona. So that's plenty of travel for me, man. After spending a year on the couch, I'm like, I hadn't been on an airplane since 2019. It was weird.
That's the last time I was on an airplane. We went to beautiful Walt Disney World in Florida. So yeah, it's very exciting that the world is returning to where it was.
No masks on the plane, for better or for worse. And I was just talking to coworkers and other personnel, and they said, yeah, there were some like crazy people would flip out, be screaming at each other over having masks on. So I was glad I didn't see any of it. I'll leave the subject alone. But
yeah, definitely. And I'm actually joined a gym because we're in the throes of trying to move and things, and I have no workout equipment. So I joined a gym. It worked out pretty well, and actually it's allowing me to catch up on some shows through my phone as I do that, which is very nice. Yeah, very nice. And so yeah, very, very cool. So I caught up on a few things. So we're going to actually talk about that, but we'll do that in a little bit. But first, we're going to talk about this lovely, lovely cover with Incredible Hulk 374. This is the Peter David and Dale Keown era. It's a high point for the Hulk. So this is fantastic. We've got the Gray Hulk, aka Mr. Fix-It. We've got him saying "Not you again." We think it's the Thing, but in the background we see the Skrulls.
Yeah, oh, you're absolutely right. So yeah, I was going to say I think this was past the era, and we've mentioned it in the past. There was a new Fantastic Four era in like 80, 87, 88, where Thing was leading the team, and Sharon Ventura, she was called Ms. Marvel or Captain Marvel or something Marvel at that time. They both transferred. He became a different kind of he became like a pointy Rocky Thing, and she became like a smooth skin thing, and then he changed back, so he looks changed here. But I love the Super Skrull, one of my favorite super villains, probably second in the Fantastic Four pantheon, probably only second to Doctor Doom for me, because yeah, he had all the powers of the Fantastic Four plus the shape-shifting powers of a Skrull, so he could assume any one of their shapes. So he was pretty rock solid. He could be stopped. He got his powers from a beam of light, like it enhanced powers from the Skrull homeworld. So if you shut that down, he was much less powerful.
I was wondering how he became the Super Skrull. I was always aware of him. His abilities, very cool, villain.
Yeah.
You could kind of use them in tandem as well. So it wasn't like you had to use one at a time, which was kind of like we've seen it with others, like, I can only use this power at one time, but that's pretty cool.
Well, it's like, in Star Trek, how you can only use the transporter when the shields are down. So, it's perfect plot hole. So yeah, same thing.
Yeah, very, very cool. The art style was awesome with Dale Keown. Very, very clean, which I really liked. It was really once again, this really kicked off the things for the Hulk that really set on its really fantastic run, I was right around this time when I started reading the Hulk. So it was really fantastic. Very cool cover. October 1990. We'll see how this goes, but this is also leading back into this mindset of the Hulk versus the Thing. There was always those classic rivalry, battles, and the Thing would always try, but he just was never up to the speed of the Hulk or the strength of the Hulk. But it was always fun to see the Thing give it his try.
Right, exactly correct. So good stuff. And speaking of people who give it the try, we always get a maybe lukewarm effort from our favorite gal pal, our senior news correspondent down at the corner of Hollywood and Vine. I'm talking about Madam Webb. I think we need to get down there right away and get those hot takes, those scoops. So let's go.
Now it's time for Madam Webb's Rumors and News. Take it away, boys.
Thank you, Madam Webb. We're back with all the rumors and news. And oh my goodness, Charlie, you're not the only one who got a plane this week. Madam Webb went out to Hollyweird. She apparently was one of those people that, you always hear about them, like, this woman has been on the plane. She gets on there, gets under like the landing gear, and they have to pull her off. Well, she apparently got through all of the security, got out of the landing gear, and she went over to CinemaCon. So she's got all the hotness for us. So I don't know if I don't know if she'll make it back, but she's there, and she sent out telegrams. So we're all ready to get all the scoops.
That's right. Let me grab this pile of mimeographs and we'll start reading from them. But first and foremost, it looks like we for sure have some very sad news. This happened just yesterday. The passing of Neal Adams, who is a perennial legend in the field. It's very sad news, but also really serves to remind me that, we don't have a lot of we know we don't have a lot of time left with George Perez, who is another titan of the industry, who we know is very ill right now. So serves as a reminder to even the heroes that gave us our heroes are also very mortal. But Todd, you're much more of a DC guy than me, so why don't you talk us through this one?
Well, and it's funny, Charlie, because I would say his first iconic art really came from when he illustrated the X-Men. This is before
I see that.
Before the Uncanny X-Men giant size era started. This was a high point of that book. I mean, it really was great art. So story, but still, it was really fantastic art for for the classic X-Men teams before Wolverine joined them and before they got canceled. So even Neal's great art could not really save them. But this is one of Marvel's first beyond superstar artists. I mean, I think we got Frank Miller, Jim Steranko, and so he is really a legacy of great artwork. And it's funny, there's a Twitter post from Marvel saying they mentioned his photorealistic style, which I'm like, I guess it's photorealistic. I don't know. It just seems an odd point versus
it's funny looking at these panels because you have a lot of human characters. You have Havoc, which is a debut in this issue 58 of the original X-Men. You've got the Beast in his still human form, so he's not blue and furry. Magneto appears in the third panel, and then the next one is Triton from the Inhumans, who is green-skinned with gills, with pointed ears and ridges on a spot. What do they call it? A spine at the top of his head. The fin. Thank you. Blah, blah, blah. I can speak words. So it's kind of like Meatloaf might say, 3 out of 4 ain't bad for that.
Well, it was an Avengers book, so you're doing it for the Avengers, so good stuff there. Then then he was most noted, though, for his work he did on Batman with Eddie Adams, really bringing out a new era of Batman, getting away from the silly Batmans on a spaceship fighting aliens, where he's back now. Ra's al Ghul, he was involved with that creation. Right. So really an iconic Batman artist. Apparently he's even done some weird things. Like he did the poster for Phantom of the Paradise, which if you ever saw that movie, Charlie, it's this weird 70s movie with Paul Williams. It's kind of like a weird, like Phantom of the Opera. It's well worth. We may even have to watch this for like a future, like guilty pleasure. It's a weird movie, but he did the penciling for the movie poster. So definitely a really, and it's funny, even what's his name? Larry Hama posted a tweet about it, and he said, essentially, Neal Adams told him to value his talent. He said he actually ran into Larry Hama where he was doing his own drawings and putting out like charge you $20. You can get one of my hand-drawn art pieces at a con. And Neal Adams came back, had photocopied it, and actually doubled the price. He said, if you don't value your own art, no one else will. I mean, talk about that. Really.
Yeah, I mean, the outpouring of tweets here. Kurt Busiek, of course, the classic Alex Ross. Oh my God! I mean, just a list of names. Rob Liefeld, of course. Just the list goes on and on and on. Folks that worked with him. I know that I met him at a con. just in
You
passing.
could have, yeah. He was a regular con attendee into his like 80s. Also drew Superman versus Muhammad Ali.
I see that. What a class. That's good stuff. So, RIP to a legend. And again, I know that we're going to be facing this with George Perez before too much time goes by, which makes me very sad. So, it's we're all mortal, folks. The beauty is that his work will continue to live.
I hope it lives forever. And
hopefully continue to delight new fans to look to the past and see the future. That's what
Absolutely.
I hope. But not sure how I'm feeling about this next story. I feel like it's potentially much ado about nothing, but Todd will talk it through. I don't, I guess why I'm not that shook up about this is that there's not been a lot of conversation about the fact that the Marvel Studios is in pre-production for a Fantastic Four film. And John Watts, who gave us some of the Spider-Man movies, did he give us the most recent ones?
He gave us all three, Charlie. He gave us all three.
All three of the most recent ones. Okay.
Correct.
For some reason, my head was stuck thinking that he did the Andy Garfield movies, but that guy almost has a very similar name. But regardless, so they've shaken loose John Watts, and I'm looking at this to see exactly. Deadline reports no ill will there. Obviously, quoting John Watts, he just wants a break from superhero films. That doesn't sound salacious at all. That really does make a lot of sense. Most creators will probably endeavor to not be pigeonholed, in their work. So I guess I get that. So, but again, because there's been almost no buzz about this film, I guess this guy leaving doesn't really scare me, because how is Disney going to fail to find us somebody good? Look at the acting talent, even in the last, several films post Avengers Endgame, that they've had some solid, talented folks that are directing things. So I don't know. What do you think?
It is interesting because we don't want to have happen what we had happen with Star Wars, where they started losing directors and they had like all this nonsense. It's like, so I don't know what this means. I thought it was a positive because he's obviously delivered significantly.
Right.
Delivering the best performing movie out of the pandemic. He's created the best version. I would say he's had a huge hand in creating the most beloved version of Spider-Man, linking that into the MCU and how it all played out, bringing the other universe. I'm like, I don't know any other creator has definitely had to deal with all of those elements. Obviously, there will be more directors have to deal with that now because they just keep on layering the Marvel onion, and it's like eventually you get to the end, you're like, this doesn't work. But I totally get it, and it's early enough on, Charlie. You're absolutely right. We have know nothing really about the Fantastic Four except it's coming, and then same thing with the X-Men. Have heard nothing. We know that they're probably going to do something, which could overlay, because I'm sure you saw the latest Doctor Strange trailer where they actually announced the Illuminati.
Yes. And by name. And then, there's always that clever individual like, oh, look at this sleeve. And this has to be, Professor X, or I can tell from this footage, or maybe it was fan footage, that this is definitely Captain Carter and whatever. April and I are very fired up. We're seeing that movie on Thursday night. It's a big week coming up for geek stuff. So, but more of which that we'll talk about the Geek Easy. I'm in absolute agreement with the author of this article. I just want to see it done right. Doesn't mean it has to be done the same. So I guess I don't, my knickers are not in a twist seeing that yes, someone who's a renowned director has left. You're right. The fear is that it's Star Wars, and God, it's got to be this thing and that thing, and we might end up getting a bad mix. There's a capacity for either. But even with some of the slower films that Marvel gave us in 2021, I don't think that they're going to give us a true dud anytime soon. So I think it will find its redemption song.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm excited for it, and the reason I brought up the Illuminati because who is in the Illuminati? I will give you the members, and this is the Marvel.
Yes.
Doctor Strange, Black Bolt, Professor X, Mr. Fantastic, Namor, Iron Man, and Sylvie.
Yes.
Who the hell is Sylvie?
Isn't that from, in the MCU, that's the Lady Thor that we saw in Thor. Unless it's spelled differently, but
no, I don't think so. Okay,
there have been casted parts for that. So does that mean that we get Anson Mount as Black Bolt? I certainly hope not. I don't want them to acknowledge the Inhumans thing that ABC did.
Yeah, Sylvie is the female version of Loki that we've seen. So
okay, exactly. So there you go. So who knows? Wouldn't that be incredible?
So it would be interesting if this is how. I mean, if Professor X is one of them, which we heard his voice and it's pretty much confirmed. Right. Who else are we going to see that really makes this thing blow up? Because Spider-Man kind of set the stage. WandaVision set the stage. All these things are coming together, and Sam Raimi's back. So this is going to be pretty cool, man.
I'm certainly fired up. So, but that'll be a big blowout that you and I talk about in next week's show. Is all about that movie because it's going to be we probably ought to find somebody. We probably ought to scramble around.
I think we had mentioned someone, but if that doesn't work out,
someone.
Yes, I think
I'll ask a certain someone who I'll be recording a certain program with at a certain time of day. That is today. But anyway, moving on. Todd, it's dead, and you already thought it was dead, so you're not sad. I'm talking about the Arrowverse. That's right. Legends of Tomorrow and Batwoman are canceled. I would assume, and I apologize for not being a little bit more informed, this being the last of the Arrowverse shows. It didn't Flash. Oh, yeah, because
Flash is still ongoing, and that would be it because Black Lightning's already gone. We had Arrow go. Am I free? I guess if we count Lois and Clark, Superman Lois is part of it because that was part of the spinoff. But the original members that were really cost out.
I understand.
Legends of Tomorrow was one of those originals.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how they were trying to frame that. But Katie Leutz was Sarah Lance, who was the original character on that show. That show, I was definitely dialed in the first year, maybe the second year, because I loved it. It's a bunch of weird hero / villain / anti-hero types on a time ship, traveling through time, setting right what once went wrong. Samson, Delilah, and King Kong. Sorry, that's from a rap song. It's so obscure, I bet you don't know it. I'll give you a chance. Any thoughts?
I'm guessing it's from the 80s, Charlie.
Early 90s.
Okay.
But anyway, here we go. Hit me up on Twitter at the C3 if you know where that lyric came from. Bang! Anyway, so Todd, you and I were both of the same stripe when it came to Legends or we watched those big crossovers, right?
Yeah.
You would say, Carden, the big crossovers are on this year, and the episodes coming. Go on to the CW app and watch them. So the last one we watched was The Crisis or whatever. But as far as tuning back in, I mean, even April said to me, she's like, we forgot to keep watching was Superman and Lois. And we've now, we missed the last of the first season, and I think maybe the second season started. So stuff can just really fall through the cracks if it's not on. Sometimes if you can't track it down to a single streamer, and it's like, it's on this other blah blah, it can just kind of get missed. But again, that probably doesn't have a lot to do with this. That show was on probably for at least it said 2016, so that's 6 years. 6 years? Am I good at math? Bad at math? Yeah, 6 years.
Well, 6 years, it's 7 seasons, right?
Seven seasons.
Doing 7 seasons.
110 episodes. That's plenty.
That's a long run. How many Marvel shows have had 7? Like the Netflix shows got 3, I think, and then
Well, and they really seem to be teeing up the rest of them to just
Smallville got 10, 12.
Yeah, back in the, and again, that was back in the old days, you know what I mean, with that kind of stuff. So, it's perfectly, logical that shakes out that way. So, anyhow, there's one show left, and with Elseworlds crossovers and this thing and that thing, there's no doubt that it's certainly come back around again. So, but anyway, doesn't break my heart. But I'll tell you what, anybody out there listening to the sound of our voice who's a huge fan, tweet us up at Secret Friends U. Let us know, if we've been missing the boat, because I'd be curious.
It's going to be interesting because Batwoman only got 3 seasons, but it also had the first season Ruby Rose left, and it was a little funky. I mean, it's going to be interesting because this leaves Superman and Lois. Stargirl was a DC Universe Infinite show that came over and is now going to be on the CW. Those shows all go to HBO Max now, I believe, once they cross over. That'll be season 3 for that. And then Naomi is the other show that's going to finish its first season. And that show just, I tried to like it. I
Yeah, you weren't
tried
clicking.
to
You
like
weren't
it.
clicking,
I
you
like the
said,
comic, but
yeah.
man, something just about the show does not feel right. So, yeah, we'll see where this goes. The CW is going to be up for sale. This may be part of the cleaning their house, and then eventually, like nothing, no
Right.
superhero shows will eventually be on the CW show, and becomes like an Archieville type of show, like network maybe.
Maybe they'll just change it to AV, Archiville.
It could
the
be.
Archiville Club.
Could be.
Oh my goodness! Well, Todd, as you said, the true hotness and the benefit of having Madam Webb steal away in the wheel well of that, Airbus 619 that landed at LAX is that we're breaking away from CinemaCon. Big movie convention out in Los Angeles.
Didn't this used to be called Show West or something like that? They changed the name.
Probably so,
Yeah.
but that is, potentially too much of a pigeonhole. But yeah, we've got we've got a slate. Paramount came out first. Another Mission Impossible movie. Grown. My wife likes them. I'll be seeing it. Let's see. Disney. Boom, 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 boom. A lot of stuff with Marvel. I'm shocked. But we've got they're announcing stuff we're going to be seeing in the next few weeks. So Bob's Burgers, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, Pixar's Lightyear. Todd, of course, don't forget tomorrow as we're recording this is the beginning of our summer movie wager. Boom, boom. So make sure that you are touched up. So, but I'm seeing some other stuff. Indiana Jones 5. It just says Indiana Jones. Little Mermaid, Haunted Mansion, The Marvels, which is Marvel property, Guardians 3, and Avatar. I'm not going to talk about Avatar, so I'm going to kick it back to you.
Yeah, and there's some other movies in here. The Banshees of something or other. Let me see if I can make that picture bigger because it's hard to see. Okay. So
right.
Lightyear. Obviously, there's a bunch of movies we already know that are coming. The Banshees of Inisherin, Amsterdam. I don't know what that is. Obviously, Wakanda Forever. This is all the end of 2022. The Menu, Disney Strange World, and Avatar ends the year 2023. We already got our first change. Quantumania is now Ant-Man and the Wasp. Quantumania is now swapping with the Marvels, so we're getting that earlier.
Okay.
That's swapping.
That sounds cool.
Yep. Then we're getting a second attachment of Haunted Mansion. Hopefully that's better than the last one, which was horrible. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Little Mermaid, like you said, and Indiana Jones. So it's a pretty good slate for 2023. We'll see how this goes. But Disney's got a full slate.
Mm-hmm. And we'll probably have to pick up the pace because there's a lot in here. But I will tell you that I saw the trailer for Elvis, Baz Luhrmann's Elvis, which is going to be coming out this summer. But oh my God, that looks fantastic!
I love Baz Luhrmann.
Fun.
I mean, he's hit and miss, really a lot of hit and miss. So I hope it's good.
And we've got, what do we got? Another Wonka pick with Chalamet is coming out. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, Shazam. So this is obviously DC slate. The Flash one is like, I don't know, man.
They're lucky that movie's coming out in 2023 because that gives them a lot of time to do a lot of work.
No doubt about it.
Charlie, you missed the Barbie movie. Come on,
hold on. I'm going up and down. I know I'm not going to disrespect Barbie. Follow up to Ghostbusters Afterlife, which was a huge one of the best films I've seen in the theater in a long time. I absolutely loved it. Jurassic World Dominion, but yeah, the Barbie movie, man. So that is with could it be a more perfect Barbie in the current zeitgeist? In my opinion, would be Margot Robbie. But that should be fun. I'm real curious. The tone, is it going to be for kids? Is it going to be very tongue in cheek? Like,
it's a great cast, and Greta Gerwig, she's just a quirky director.
Yeah, big time.
Will Ferrell, Simu Liu, Kate McKinnon, Charlie. It's going to have to be like the Brady Bunch. It's going to be one of those,
self-referential, poking it about. So yeah, I'm fired up about that. Dungeons and Dragons movie. They've tried this before, haven't they? But isn't somebody of decent notice? Isn't
Chris
Tom
Pines,
Holland in that one?
Chris Pines.
There you go.
Yep. And the good news is there's no Wayans brother in this movie.
Oh man, well I can't believe they didn't find a way to get Kevin Hart in it because he's in everything.
Well, he is going to be in the Borderlands film though, so he is making his way into some video games. So there you go.
So last one, of course, summertime. This one is delayed 3 whole years. Top Gun Maverick. First reactions have called the film a perfect blockbuster, which to me isn't really complimentary, but obviously in our top 10 for this, for the summer movie wager we're doing. If you'd be a fool if it's not going to be in there because it's going to make some bucks. So yeah, I'm really interested to see. And again, this obviously goes beyond the summer, but I'm interested to see as life, kind of morphs itself into more of a normalcy post COVID-ish, what the box office, what a big box office number looks like. How many people are really engaged with still going to the theater after 2 years of watching stuff on your big screen TV. You know what I mean? So I am very curious to see how all this shakes out.
Well, it's going to be a lot easier, Charlie, because you just can't watch it at home. So it's not like nothing is going direct day and date. I think Firestarter might be one of the only movies I've seen.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so
that was another trailer we saw. So, and again, April and I'll talk about this in the Geekies. April and I love going to the movies. We have the VIP with Celebration Cinema. It's 9 movies a month, 3 movies a week. We'll go see anything. The movie we saw yesterday was shit going in, but my wife she had a rough week, needed to pick me up, so we wanted to go see something dumb that we could heckle, and we did. So we go see sometimes almost anything. So it's an enjoyable experience to get out. I was so excited because the bar at my theater opened up again. I was able to have a nice craft beer with my terrible Michael Bay movie. It was perfect.
That seems like a recipe for disaster for you, Charlie, though, with the sleep. It's like, okay, depress yourself even more.
And I had a brief snooze in this film, but I did not feel bad about it at all. But I digress.
Because it was 18 hours long, I think, right? Long movie.
It was seriously like 220, and I'm like, I turned to April and I was like, I don't want to spoil it, but I'm like, why is this still going on? Oh my God. Speaking of that, what a great segue. Speaking of things that should not still be going on, The Walking Dead. We talked about this in the last episode that I was on, so 2 episodes back, about the Fear the Walking Dead submarine one shot, which I thought with Nick Stahl, which I thought was great. One thing that I really don't think is great is the proliferation of Walking Dead spinoff series. Talk about, something that won't die. Sorry, couldn't help it. It really, call a duck a duck. Walks like a duck, talks like a duck.
Charlie,
right?
I'm calling it The Watching Dead.
Woo, my God. So anyway, yes, Gaius Charles, who is a creator, is joining the Lauren Cohan and they call him JMD. Oh, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Just call him Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Nobody calls him JDM. Stop trying to make it a thing. It's like
you with your acronyms, man. You're always saying, no. I'm like, you're the only one that knows this acronym.
Oh my God. Joining them to either. I love this. So we're talking about the characters of Maggie and Negan leaving Alexandria, which is in Virginia, at the conclusion of the Walking Dead series, which will happen at some point, going to post-apocalyptic Manhattan, long ago cut off from the mainland. So really, it's simply Escape from New York.
Or that really bad Zack Snyder movie where they walled off Vegas when the zombies lived.
Oh, God, yes. I know.
Army of the Dead.
Yeah, exactly. So the crumbling city is filled with the dead and denizens who have made New York their own, full of anarchy, danger, beauty, and terror. It is exactly the Snake Plissken movie. Wow. So, yes, they talk about this, yada, yada, yada. Do we get any kind of production when we're going to see it? I frankly hope we never see it. And it's nothing more tragic than segment 2 of this Walking Dead, the Watching Dead spinoff, which is what, Todd? What's segment 2?
Oh, this is fantastic. I actually posted on Twitter because I thought it was very clever. But basically, we've now got the Daryl and Carol spinoff that is now essentially minus Carol. So it's just Daryl, my other brother Daryl. We will have that. Thank you, Newhart.
No. The show is simply called Minus Carol.
Oh, Minus Carol. There you go. But yeah, I mean, so essentially she's not going to be there because they're actually filming it in Europe, which is interesting. I'm assuming the show isn't taking place in Europe, but she cannot go there. I don't know what's stopping her.
Oh, my goodness.
It's a unique feedback, apparently. That was interesting. Although initially, they said initially we thought it was a buzz to ditch her, but there was always the dynamic between Daryl and Carol, so it seemed like this would make sense.
Right.
But once again, we're going on with characters that have been around for 11 seasons and now doing a spinoff with them again. Is their story done? Can you even keep going? I mean, this is not like, Mork from Mork getting a spinoff of Happy Days and we only saw him once. This is like Joni Loves Chachi and we know how that ended.
it brings up a lot of questions. A, why is it being filmed in Europe when, for example, Outlander, Todd's favorite show, is currently set in colonial America, as in this country, but still filmed in Scotland?
Oh, it's going to be set in Europe, but you can make
right.
places look like Europe.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. They're trying to make Scotland look like colonial North Carolina, which is where the Outlander is currently taking place. So this just already seems like the next thing we're going to hear is that they're calling it off.
I mean, it's harder to recreate like modern Europe than it is old school Europe with like castles. So maybe it's like that's the problem. That's why they have to do it there.
I guess, but again,
sure.
Is Daryl, the redneck from Georgia, going to hop on a boat and go to Europe? And
no, he's driving across on his motorcycle.
Yeah, exactly. They somehow have a land bridge of walkers, exactly.
Or it's just going to be like there's going to be a paddle or like a propeller. He's going to have his motorcycle on like an inflatable raft.
He's going to pop wheelies across the Atlantic.
And he'll still look like he hasn't bathed in 18 weeks.
It was 18 years the show has been on, because that's what it's feeling like. So yeah, Walking Dead, I'm not saying that there aren't interesting post-apocalyptic stories to tell, because Fear of the Walking Dead is fairly engaging. I've talked about it. Right now there's power struggle. It's in a different part of the country. It's post a sub that launched a nuclear missile that went off. So there's this atomic wasteland and all these people looking for safety, and one group trying to find another group. It's always going to be like that. That's what that's going to be like. But regardless, with these same characters, just let it go. Come on, just let it go. Let it go.
Thank you,
My beloved late son Parker, I have a beautiful video of him singing that song completely unsolicited. Just he's running around on a piece of playground equipment singing that song. My sweet boy. Anyway, Carol and Daryl, yikes. Please just don't.
You know what? Anyway. We can't miss you if you never leave. And you know what? We're going to now leave our beautiful news hound, and we're going to go over to our favorite geek establishment to get our libation and our nerd on, and that's the Geek Easy.
Talk nerdy to me. Talk nerdy to me.
We're sitting in the Geek Easy, cover bands playing, drinks are poured, and we are ready to get our nerd on. This week, Charlie, it's a little catch-up on all the things that have been dropping, hopping, and flopping in the world of the things I'm watching.
Wait a minute. Is that ketchup or catsup? Be clear.
Depending where you live in the world. I assume the British, it would go tomato catsup. Yes. Tomato.
Catsup.
Yes, tomato. Yes. So the first one that I'm catching up on, and I'm assuming you have too, is, do you want to guess?
MK5. No. You got me.
Moon Knight episode 5.
Oh, come on! He's 5. I thought I didn't really.
Episode 5, which tells you there's one episode left of this adoring show.
Episode 5.
Yes. There you go. So this is Moon Knight. It's penultimate episode, essentially leaving us in. Spoilers, whatever you want to say. It's leaving essentially where a lot of heavy lifting to finish the plot. We don't know what the end game is with the villain. We still don't know what he's going to do. I mean, is he going to kill everybody? He's going to raise this lady, and does she get into the world, and the Avengers won't be seen because, they're off somewhere else because they'll just be ignoring it? I don't know.
Avengering.
Exactly. We've got our two main characters, basically trying to come back from the dead. Essentially we've kind of resettled a status quo, it looks like now, where we've kind of got a new status quo going for, at least with the main character. But once again, I'm curious to see where this lands, and then what will it do to essentially be more than just a standalone story. This was truly what it feels like. It feels like it's just a standalone story on Moon Knight. It's not meant to have a connection with the MCU. If it is... Good. If it is, yeah, and that's the thing. And this is where I think the hard part with Marvel was they've set up this expectation. Everything has to connect. You've got to have this. And it's like, can your expectations set that aside and say, you can just tell a standalone story and be okay with it? Because if that's what it is, cool. But if they've already set the expectation, everything has to link, then how do you take this character, who essentially is a very reluctant hero, to then join the larger MCU. And that's where I'm curious. So I'm fine if it's just a standalone story. If it's supposed to be this big connection to the MCU, they have not done anything at all. And it's kind of like, is it going to feel cheap if they do try to connect it?
Well, yeah, can it simply be just kind of wound around and stuck in its own little box, and maybe it gets dusted off someday again, maybe it doesn't, but it doesn't really matter if it doesn't, if it had its own arc and it's over.
Absolutely.
That's not a bad thing. And so that's my hope as well. I certainly don't feel like more forced continuity is going to be great. So yeah, let it go. Oh God, there you go. More Frozen.
Exactly. So we'll see how this goes. This comes out on Wednesday again. I'm sure by the time you listen to this, you might have already watched the finale. So we'll see where that. And then after that, then we've got Miss Marvel coming out. So it's going to be a good time on the big old Disney Plus. And Charlie, you still feeling the same about the show? Do you like it more or less after 5 episodes?
Moon Knight. I just I guess kind of like I know everybody absolutely fawned all over Loki, which I thought was okay. And I definitely I think that this show is just okay. It's not really blowing my mind. It wasn't a hugely important character to me. I know that you and I are different when it comes to Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but those are 2 of my favorite characters because the Cap aspect of Marvel was one of my favorite. And that kind of nitty gritty, true to the world, unsuperpowered thing was more my deal. So I think that the show is just okay. But like you, I'm not digging for, it has so much potential, and then the Avengers are going to show up, and then it'll be the Eternals as well, and blah, blah. So I, too, like that this is going to be its own thing, and then I feel like be over. So it's all right. I'm definitely, obviously, excited to see it where it's gonna land.
Yeah,
sure.
It's a cool idea. I just don't feel like it stands out like where Loki really was trying to do, different things, or WandaVision or something like that. Yeah.
And even with, the branching timelines we saw at the end of Loki, that's exactly what set its, the branching fingers that are touching it back to WandaVision, touching it to Spider-Man, No Way Home, touching it to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. That all, you let that interconnectivity be its own ball. And then you've got, if that's basketball, you've got, pickleball happening over here, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
There.
You know what?
Rare sports analogy. They've
introduced the character. They have introduced the character. They can leave him there in his own place, and maybe they bring him back in another way as a cameo. He probably doesn't need a second season, so we'll see how they do with this, but we'll see how it goes. But Oscar Isaac's great. Good supporting cast. Very fun. But yeah, just not my favorite either. Halo Episode 6, Charlie, are you caught up on Halo?
Yeah, we watched it just this morning, I think, or yesterday. Yeah, so I dig it. You know what? I figured out the other person on the Spartan team is a dead ringer for Gwendolyn Christie, Captain
Phasma. You're absolutely right. Yes. She reminds me of somebody else I know too in person. It's like, okay, totally get it. It's interesting because Halo, it does some things really well. It does some things really badly. One of those things it did really badly is they essentially jettisoned that storyline in the latest episode, or it just wasn't brought up at all, which is Quan, that story where she's dealing with like the insurrections. I feel like that's the worst part. I didn't miss it.
Picard, and I'm sure we'll touch on this, had a lot of setup in one episode that was completely ignored in the next one, and then they kind of floundered their way back into it in the one after. So a lot of parallels between the way I'm feeling about that show and this one this season for sure. So yeah. But again, as we've been talking about, I'm watching the show kind of without context, without prejudice. And April is more into it. God, don't we have another Halo to watch? Was Halo on this week? So she's really into it. So April and I watch most things together. So there is a lot of, and as I'll talk about in my segment here, we are actually playing a game together, which is like nuts. So, the couple that plays together stays together has kind of been our leitmotif, certainly of late. So, yeah, she's into this show.
Cool.
She's into this show. So I'm watching it right along. But, the flip side of that is that she loves the Walking Dead stuff, and I'm dragged along. I'm kind of dragged along like the dog on the back of the car in National Lampoon's Vacation.
Yeah.
That's me with the Walking Dead stuff. Oh, Anyway.
Yeah, but I do feel like they do action pretty well, and I do feel like this is a pretty good prequel to get people to understand what Halo is in regards to the Spartans, how they were brought in, kind of how how things are developing, and also trying to figure out how this Covenant alien species fits in. So I think they're doing a pretty good job of creating like almost this is the prequel before the real main storyline comes in, which is where the Halo games start off. Which is basically this is stuff has already happened. We're balls to the wall in. So we'll see how this goes. A lot of people don't like the fact that he keeps taking off his helmet. I'm like, you know what? It would seem really awkward unless he had a real reason to keep it on, that he's talking to people and having some moments. The other part is, why are they showing his butt? We call him Master Cheeks now because they showed his butt. There you go.
Hey, you know what? Everybody's got one.
Absolutely.
It was like in the most recent episode of Outlander, which we watched this morning. They always show the watch for these things. Brief nudity was one of them. So I'm like, oh, all right. We got two butts, a male and a female. That's what brief nudity is.
Pretty much these days. Yeah. It's kind of an interesting take on, watch out for it if you're annoyed by butts. I guess Halo will really annoy you. But from there, We've got Picard. I was just finishing up the last episode to get up to speed. I'm caught up to speed on Picard, Charlie. I'm on episode 10 of Discovery this season, so I'm close to the end, making progress with that.
Well, and what's nice about Discovery, and something that I read earlier, is that they have been 13 or 16 episodes, which in the modern parlance is too much.
But they broke up.
Exactly. That was a CBS All Access deal. Starting with season 5, they will follow the 10-episode format of all the other shows, which I got to tell you, in this modern ADD, in the rest of the world catching up with the ADD that I've been dealing with since I was 10 years old, 10 episodes is fine.
Yeah, the fodder of the others, you could probably make really good shows. Yeah, cut out the fat and keep us clued in.
We don't need 26 episodes a season of, now Data has a hangnail in season 7 of TNG, which was largely very missable.
Especially, which we're seeing with most of these shows, it's one story arc. Which is an 85-part story arc gets really tired because essentially you're just trying to get to the end game and do some things along the way, which I'm perfectly happy in the future if we do see, and you'll talk about this with your hype moment, but with Picard, I've got to ask you, Charlie, because I've enjoyed it, but it's really... I don't understand what type of show it is because I kind of feel like a lot of the fans, I mean, truly if I asked you, I said, Charlie, if you just wanted Picard to be the next generation crew just having new adventures, I think would you truly want that rather than this?
Well, I mean, here's the thing, and I'm sure you've been listening to Code 47 because we all try to, on our network, we all try to listen to each other's shows, or at least we should be. I try to listen to you guys. But again, also our listeners who are fans of our full network that have been listening to KDQ and myself talk about Picard, we just don't know what the hell's going on. Because they are, it's season started out one place. It's the modern day after season 1. Everybody went back to Starfleet for the most part. And then they get called out on this weird mission where there's this masked individual who seems like they're Borg because a big Borg ship comes out. They blow up everybody. And then all of a sudden they're in an alternate reality because of Q, and then in this alternate reality there's also a Borg queen, and they've got to go back to the present to stop the alternate reality from starting, and and then Q and Borg and Q, Borg, Q, Borg, Q, and there's another song, and there's this thing, and then we're dealing with Picard remembering that Gaius Baltar was his dad, and this is it's absolutely all over the place. And even as a dyed-in-the-wool hardcore Star Trek fan, that I love the little nods and winks to continuity. They worked really hard in this episode. You watched the most recent one, you said, right? They worked really hard in this episode to explain away the fact that in a very early episode of TNG, when the Enterprise was caught in this space where if you thought something had became reality, Picard was talking to a elderly version of his mother. And so, but we saw in this episode that, spoiler alert, sorry, we talk spoilers, Picard's mother was mentally ill. She hanged herself when he was a young boy. So he never knew his mother, but his lines of dialogue said, I blacked the trauma out. There was times later in my life that I imagined talking to her as an elderly woman and drinking tea. So he explained what he thought. Yeah, he kind of is. That what he thought he saw.
He develops a Chicago accent.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yay, Mom.
Hey, Bears. So anyway, but yeah, this season can't figure out what the fuck it wants to do, and it's too much. So I am very glad. I'm very glad that it's ending. I have very little hope, and again,
Is there only
Katie
one
and I are
episode left?
Yeah. Because we get a doubleheader again this week. We get season finale of Picard, and then season premiere of Strange New Worlds, which I'll talk about in a second. I'm very dubious to the fact that they're going to wrap this up in a way that makes any kind of sense. So I'm happy, sad. I'm at like a 50% for this season, to be perfectly honest with you, and that is coming from the hardest of hardcore Star Trek guys. It's just season 2 of Picard is stay in your lane. And you're not staying in your lane. It's like the guy that bumped into your car today, Todd. He should have stayed in his lane.
Exactly. Yeah. It's because there's certain parts I like, but certain parts I'm like, okay, so we are getting a new status quo for the Borg in this, which is
right.
That's kind of cool. It's versus bringing it back and having them have the same story beats, which I appreciate. Then I do have questions because a hologram, a combat hologram or the security hologram. What's the worst thing that you do? You just you stab it. It's not a person. I don't understand that.
Well, it's minutia.
Science.
You're talking about minutia here, but anyway, let's wrap it up and move on.
Yeah.
Please, for even greater analysis of Picard, beat by beat, please tune in to Code 47. Katie, Q, and myself. We come out every other Monday, so we will be out the week that you're listening to this program. So appreciate that very much. Really quickly, I'm going to blow through some stuff here for the sake of time. My wife had a rough week. She was working for a startup. They didn't get their next level of funding. She got laid off. It all happened while I was out of town. So yesterday. And plus she wasn't feeling very well. And so I got home late Friday night from this trip. Saturday morning, I'm like, babe, what do you want to do? Do you want to stay home? You know what? I need to pick me up. Let's go see the dumbest movie at the theater. I swear to God, that's what she said. So I said, okay, is it going to be the Harry Potter movie? Because that's getting shit reviews. And she said, no, I want to see Ambulance because it looks god awful. And Todd, let me tell you, this is Mrs. Michael Bay's latest.
Is he back, Charlie? Is he back?
If you can, this is what I said to you yesterday when we were chatting about it. If you can picture any potential thing that could be wrong with the film, this man assembled a masterpiece of absolute garbage. Everything from costuming, dialogue, camera angles, casting, pacing, editing. Give me a few more. See what I mean?
Acting.
Casting, acting, exactly. Okay. Like I said, from the script to the cast to the editing to the pacing, nothing about this is any good. You have and right from the get-go, you have an ex-Marine trying to get a experimental surgery for his wife who doesn't appear to be sick at all, and then they have a young baby.
No, he just wants to experiment on her.
Oh, okay. So it's an Island of Dr. Moreau kind of thing, which was. I could talk a little bit about that.
I don't like your face. I don't like this about you.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, he, as it turns out, he was adopted by a master car thief and his adopted brother is also a master thief. And he's like, come along with me and do this $32 million bank robbing job and it'll be totally fine. And it wasn't totally fine. They end up driving around in an ambulance with a mortally wounded police officer and a paramedic who is so gorgeous and beautiful that she clearly stops between takes to put on new lip gloss and wipe blood off her face because she's always beautiful. Complete garbage. We went largely to heckle it. Yes, I did fall asleep in between. Yes, certainly a few other people in the theater were heavily using marijuana because the smell was fantastic. And then afterwards, we went and had dinner at Hopcat, which is a nearby restaurant that my wife loves, and it was a free meal for her because it's her birthday month. So it was a perfect evening.
My goodness. I heard all about this movie, and I'm like, apparently it's based on a French film, but it's only like that French film was only like 90 minutes long. So I'm like, good job, Michael Bay. You took something was 90 minutes and turned it into a
I'll tell you
movie.
that I do glance at my watch in almost any movie, but I'm like, how can this piece of shit be over 90 minutes when we hit that? You know what I mean? When we hit that mark. So anyway, something else super fun. I've been talking about Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker saga for about a month now, because it's been out for almost a month. And I finally roped April into playing with me, and I not really the story levels, because that can be a little stressful. You're not doing this, but just the 25-ish or more so hub levels that they have. You can go to Tatooine, you can go to Pisana, you can go to Coruscant, you can go to Dagobah. So what we're doing is, she's like, well, I'm so nervous to split screen. I said, it's no big deal. We don't even really have to work together. Just I kind of gave her the basics of the mechanics, like you walk around and just follow your map, because all we're trying to do is we're trying to gather the Kyber crystals, because that's what lets you level up. Use those to level up, give yourself more abilities, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, we'll work separately. And if we run into something where we can't, then we'll work together. And she's totally into it. We played for like 4 or 5 hours today, in between just like going for a walk and this and that. We'll probably play a little bit more before we go to bed. She's not, she's even less of a gamer than me, because all I play is these. But the Lego game, she tends to shy away from, because the old games, there was no split screen. It's just, if you went to move, you just drag the other person with you. And that's not a lot of fun. So this is good. And again, it's very simple. There are 300 characters, 360 characters. I think I have about 230 of them right now. So I'm plugging away. And plus I have some extra ones because of the DSL. So I like it, but I keep telling her, I said, I'm probably going to be playing this for 6 months a year, because there's just so much to do.
Yeah, you can pace it so you can just do everything. But when Charlie, I have to say, in the notes, you've got LSWTSS, and I'm like, I don't know that is that. It almost looks like that's what she said, the acronym for that. So I'm like, you and your acronyms, man. I'm like, I had to look it up, and I couldn't even find anything that said that. So yes,
I love it. I think I created that acronym. But anyway, flashing forward, I touched upon it when we were talking about Picard, but this Thursday, which will be the day before this program comes out, Star Trek: Strange New Worlds drops at the premiere episode at the same time of the God, please do the best you can season finale of season 2 of Picard. I have been amped up about this show since Discovery season 2. I love Anson Mount's portrayal of Captain Pike, who's of course the lead character. Got his personalized autograph when I was in Chicago a month ago. Love Ethan Peck as now Lieutenant Commander Spock. We have Rebecca Romaine as Commander Una, number 1, the first officer. A host of new cast and characters. We're going to be blowing this one up, talking about over at Code 47. We got a nice little 8-minute making of video that just came out. We did get to see the opening credits, which is just really an expansion of kind of, I think, TOS, which the show is the immediate predecessor to. So this is going to be great. And again, it's being returned to more of an episodic format, which you're used to with Star Trek. So it won't be just the same, like, one overarching story thing. It's going to be a lot of, it's going to be something different, kind of like Lower Decks is something different. So
I mean, imagine they're probably gonna revisit his whole premonitions of his death, right? That'll probably be a big part of it, but hopefully not the focus, right? Yeah,
right. Yeah, right. Exactly.
And this,
so I'm fired up.
This takes is this like directly after season that we last saw them, or is it is there a time jump? Or
I got the vibe that Pike takes a leave of absence after the series, the season 2 finale of Discovery, where the ship was crippled, so obviously it has to be rebuilt. He had a close death of a fellow officer, which was Admiral Cornwall, in that episode, and then he had to, in order to get the time crystal that let Discovery go to the 24th century, he had to embrace his future, which is he got to see his own horrible disfigurement, which is what led him to being in the wheelchair, which we saw in the original series.
It looked like an iron. I thought it was an iron lung. My bad.
No, it's essentially the same thing. It keeps his brain going and can talk with beeps.
It's like a Dalek with a convertible Dalek.
Yeah, but if you look at him in that episode, his hair is still totally on point. Which is something that I
That's all I
to
ask.
Anson Mount.
Let me be horribly disfigured, but good hair.
That's what I said to Anson Mount. I said, "Sir, I'm still working on the hair." He said, "I think you're doing okay." Is the highest compliment.
That's why I get the big bucks.
That's why I get the big bucks. I have the big hair. So anyway, that'll be great. Look for full coverage, obviously, on on Code 47 in a couple of weeks, but I'll be back in addition to talking about Doctor Strange in our next episode. I'll be back talking about this. So you'll get, because if my cohort there is our co-host, you'll be hearing about this as well. So get ready for it, Todd, and you squeeze it into your week. I want all of us to be able to talk about it.
Definitely. I'll have time, so I will watch. But
okay,
you know
cool.
what?
Good deal.
Yeah, but you know what we have to do before we actually even get into those things? We're going to take a little jaunt in a little skyhopper all the way over to our favorite destination where the mutants are waiting to be entertained, and that's the Thunderdome.
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome!
Thank you, Tina. We're sitting in the Thunderdome, where the mutants have been gathered for a topic or a game to be entertained. And this week, we're back to a game. And because by the time you listen to this, May the 4th will have already happened. So we thought we'd do a Star Wars-themed 20 questions. So we are ready to get our groove on. So folks, if you're listening at home, you can play along and just guess them as well. And if you got them right, let us know. So we'll go from there, Charlie. Would you like to start asking, or would you like me to start asking?
I would like you ask, I will receive. Go for it.
Okay, we'll start here. Is this a human?
Yes.
It's a human. Is this a male?
Yes.
Male human. Is this character a Jedi?
No.
Is this character from the prequel era?
No.
Okay. Is this character only been on a TV show?
No.
Okay. So did this character debut in the original trilogy?
Yes.
It's original trilogy human, not a Jedi. Is this human? Is this human part of the Empire?
No.
Part of the Empire. Ooh, okay. We're making room. Well, I'm up to 7, so we'll go from there. Is this character a pilot?
Yes.
Pilot. Okay. Pilot, human. Okay, now we're gonna have to get to one that I actually know. Is this character known for his girthy size?
No.
I have to.
Not biggins. I mean,
okay,
Porkins.
got it. So, is this character? Okay. Does this character pilot a rebel ship?
Yes.
Rebel ship. Okay, not a Jedi. Ooh. Human. How many more can there be? It's not a Jedi. Okay, so does this character was this character in A New Hope?
Yes.
Okay. Is this character named after something you'd put against a door to keep it open?
Yes.
Yay! I win.
You got it. Nice.
Is the character Wedge Antilles?
Correctamundo.
All right, because you have to get when you get down to like rebel pilots, it's like
right. That's true. I figured I'd throw you a softball.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I blasted you.
I appreciate it. I stumble with a lot of the names, so I'm like,
well, it's just and again, you talk about names that have not been said on screen. You got Wedge, but you didn't get Antilles. You got Biggs, but you didn't get Biggs Darklighter. Blah 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 blah. So yeah, exactly. Okay. They're canon, but it's
Rebel 6,
broken.
Rogue
exactly.
Leader. I mean, Guy Bartendo. Oh,
right.
no.
Guy Bartendo.
He was never pilot. Okay, Charlie, are you ready? I will start marking down the numbers.
Let's party. Okay, so is the character in question from the prequel trilogy?
No.
Not Yaddle. Shit. It's all. Over.
I knew you were going to go there, so I'm like,
well, you just never stop talking about it. This character in question from, primarily speaking, from the original trilogy.
Sure.
And the sure is not a yes or no.
Yes. I think.
You think? Well, let's find out.
I don't know all of the. I don't know all of the where they might have appeared. I don't have Wikipedia.
Well, I mean, we all have Wikipedia.
It's
but
from that.
regardless-
I'll put it this way. It's from that era.
Okay, so from that era. Okay, so for the OT era.
Yes.
Okay, is the character in question a human being or humanoid?
Yes.
Okay, is the character in question considered a bounty hunter?
No.
Gotcha. Okay. Is the character in question a member of the Empire?
No.
Is the character in question a member of the Rebel Alliance?
I'd say no.
Not Empire, not Rebel, not a bounty hunter. It is a human. Did I ask that question?
Mm-hmm.
Is the character in question a fancy dresser?
In a way.
Okay. Is the character in question live in a gorgeous city in the clouds?
No.
Oh! If it's not Yaddle and it's not Lando in his capes. Oh.
It's Lando's. No, it's Lando's Taylor. No, just kidding.
Oh my God. Is character in question male?
No.
I asked human, but no. So female, humanoid, non-rebel, non-bounty hunter, non-imperial, non-Lando.
Non-Lando. Yes.
So it's female character. So would this character have appeared in one of the two Star Wars story films? Meaning Rogue One or the Han Solo film? No. Oh, okay. So not an interquill.
It would have been great though if they made an appearance.
I don't know if that's sarcastic or not. But an OT character that could have spilled over. Interesting. What a stumperoo. Processing. And it's a human, so it's not a droid. Blah, 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 blah. Let's see here. Does the person in question pilot their own spaceship?
No.
No.
Or unknown is the best way to put it.
It's not like Dash Rendar, which is actually canon. Is the character in question considered a canonical character?
Ooh. I don't believe so.
Oh, so we're talking about the books. Okay. And a humanoid. Yeah, that's why Dash Rendar kind of came to mind. Not a bounty hunter. Not Imperial, not a rebel. Well, this is a dilly of a pickle. Not necessarily a ship person. Not an alien. It's a human. OT, but non-canonical adjacent. Mm-hmm. Did they appear in the film or is this a character primarily from a book?
No.
Oh, well, thank God. Is this a character primarily from a video game?
No.
Because that would be mean.
That would be hard for you, yes.
Because was this individual a force wielder?
Not that I'm aware of.
It's not that like Star Killer dude. Not a Jedi, so it's not Cameron Monaghan's character, which would be canon. Damn, this is a stumper. I can't believe it.
I could have gone for Thor, the Tusken Raider from the video game, Charlie. We all love that character.
Hey, look. She's a dancer.
Yes.
Damn, no ship, no, not a rebel, not an imperial. Well, what even is there? Oh, and it's a human, so it's not a droid. Is the character a child? Is it a child character?
Not a child.
It's an adult son of a bitch.
Okay, you've got 16 down.
Damn. Boy, this is a real stumper. Did I asked Rebel and Empire. Did I ask Jedi? Was that one of the questions?
I don't remember, but you can always ask it again if you'd like.
Sure. Is the character considered? Oh, I said a Force wielder.
Okay, then yeah, if you already asked that, then yeah, you already your answer, which is no.
Okay. And not a bounty hunter. So I mean, I'm just thinking through my characters of classes in my Lego game because they're all split out into classes. Is the character a scavenger like Rey?
No.
No. Damn. Boy, what else? Boy, in Star Wars, what else is there? 3 women and a lot of white men. I get the Rebel pilot deal. Is the character a politician?
No.
Not like Princess Leia's dad. Or would have appeared in those films. Son of a gun. Oh, you really got me on this one. I don't know.
Got 2 more, Charlie.
I might have to concede. I don't even really know what else I would guess. So, not Baby Yoda. As there is no character named Baby Yoda.
Correct.
Unless you're an idiot.
Because Grogu would have been around during that era, right? Maybe.
Yes, absolutely. But it's not him. And it's not a rebel, so it's not like Cara Dune. It's not a scoundrelly. Oh, well, it wouldn't be someone who starred in one of the Rocky films, would it?
Well, no, but he wouldn't have shown up anyways, right? He might have been alive, but he never showed up, right? In the OT.
That is correct. So not
unless someone picks out that might be him. That guy right over there with his back to the wall. Yeah.
Oh, wait a second. That's a human character. It's not a damn Ewok. And not a bounty hunter, but not a human character. With this, so I said bounty hunter, but did I say a scoundrel, like a criminal? Was that one of my questions?
No, you said like a scavenger or whatever, like Rey. That was the only one you really called out.
So, would this person be like someone involved in a criminal organization?
No.
Damn.
Okay, last one, Charlie. This is your question.
Oh my god!
This is your have to answer.
I've gone through my
I guess you get one more guess, and then you have to then officially.
I've gone through my entire Rolodex of classes because not a droid, not a Jedi.
You've been playing the Lego game, so I'm sure Yeah.
Why? And it cycles you through all these characters. So, and it is a human, but not. And it's OT. Not a pilot, not a senator, not the Wampa.
No.
God, I don't even have a guess.
The Wampa stall cleaner. No.
Let's call it. I don't even have a guess.
No guess. Okay. Well, there we go. Charlie, are you familiar with a character named of Akamina?
No.
The gruff bartender at Mos Eisley Cantina from the holiday special?
You've been B. Arthur'd.
Yes.
I mean, I'm familiar with Wurr, who was the day shift guy. Oh, what a stumper! Yeah, we didn't. We should.
And you've seen that movie, I think, more than any other person in the world. So it's like it was.
I've seen it as much as my family will allow it, which is we get to watch.
Plus, you've seen it without them probably many times.
Yeah, the parts of it that are watchable are now actually on Disney Plus,
Yes.
like the.
You mean one part? I mean the one part.
Yes. Yeah, they don't put the Jefferson Starship
or the sexy lady
or the hollow porn
or the weird Wookiee kids. Yeah, B. Arthur. We miss you, B. You've been gone since 2009. April 25th, 2009 is when she passed away, Charlie. But yes, you know what? We miss your song. You made that thing worth living for me. I almost picked the Harvey.
Good night, Prince.
I almost picked the Harvey character. The kitchen scene.
I mean, it's a deeper dive. It would be like if I stuck with my original one, where I was just going to say a stormtrooper.
Yeah,
I know.
exactly.
I was actually going to go with First Order Stormtrooper. So
Even worse.
Yeah.
Even worse.
Yeah. Even nobody knew him. I should have gone with General Hugs.
That would be a good one. Yeah. But no, it wasn't part of the Empire.
Oh, straight up busted. You got me. All right. Very good. Very good. Well, that's it. Nice. Okay, May the 4th. Hope you celebrated. Do keep in mind Obi-Wan, the Obi-Wan program on Disney Plus will be with us on May 25. So there is some in Celebration Cinema. Star Wars Celebration, I believe, is coming out that exact same week. So
I believe so.
There should be other Star Wars.
At best, you'll get toys announced, I assume, right? On May the 4th. That'll be it, probably.
Oh, my God. Yeah. I don't know. But regardless of what happens, Mark Carabin, the Canardian, and myself will be talking about it on the Holocron Chronicles. We actually have a little Obi-Wan special coming up, our next recording. But I'm not going to spoil it. You'll just have to listen.
Absolutely. So that is it for the show. Hope you had a good time. We're going to try to cover most of the things that's coming up because this is going to be a busy summer for the world of nerds. Yep. So we're going to have a lot of fun episodes. Looking forward to it. And like Charlie said, our next episode is going to be about Doctor Strange and Strange New World. So it's like Strange. Ooh. It's a very strange podcast coming up, except for Stranger Things, which is the end of the month.
Oh my God! I'm like, they're actually going to put that
Strange
out.
May. Yeah, we're going to call it Super Strange May.
I can't believe it. Oh my goodness. Well, friends, thank you as always for joining us. Of course, you can find me over on Twitter at the C3. I am also, along with my lovely wife, run the USS Grand Petoskey, the Michigan chapter of the Star Trek International Fan Club, now over 100 members and growing. We do actually catch a little bit of attention with Trekkies around the state, so we are happy about that. But come find, I also try to populate the Secret Friends Unite Facebook group with content when I am not on the road doing my road thing. But hit me up on Twitter and certainly hit us up over on Facebook because we would love to hear your thoughts about geekery in the world. Todd, what about you?
Follow me on Twitter at Toxtra, where I talk about. I try to be a better guy on Twitter as I can try to be. I was actually helping my wife out with a event she was at and doing some social media stuff for her, which I think was really cool to be able to help her out with. And then, if you like video games as well, I host a video game podcast with Mark Carabin. We do it every other week, so it kind of is a complement to Holocron Chronicles. So if you like video games, you like Star Wars, you like Star Trek, we've got 3 other podcasts for you. If you only listen to this one, check them out.
Do it to it. Well, friends, once again, thank you for joining us. I'm going to tell you that sharing is caring and to keep on trucking.
Be the hero, not the villain.
In a truck.
Well, Carol, what am I going to do without you? Because Carol and Daryl ain't got anything better.
Ain't nobody.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server, or follow at Secret Friends U on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube and visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.